Hey friends, Mrs. Crocker for another math lesson. So we're still on shapes, so we're gonna continue with that. As we get in, I want you to think about the word quadrilateral. Okay, so a quadrilateral is going to be important for today's lesson because we're going to be talking a lot about some of the categories that would fit in a quadrilateral. So as a reminder, a quadrilateral is if only I heard some yelling. I think I heard a four-sided shape. Okay, so it can be any shape as long as it has four sides, because that word quad, the base root, means four. Okay, it has to be flat and closed. Other than that, just needs to have four sides. Okay, so as I'm listening, I think I hear people screaming out some types of quadrilaterals, right? Oh yeah, I hear a rhombus, I hear a trapezoid, I hear a rectangle, and a square. So those are four types of quadrilaterals. Now there are certain quadrilaterals that we consider special. And those are considered special because they fit into another category. So we have our quadrilateral. And then we have the quadrilaterals that are also parallelograms. Now, which of those quadrilaterals would also be considered parallelograms? Because if we think back to a parallelogram, right in that word, it gives it away. A parallelogram is a shape that has two sets or pairs, whatever you want to think about it, of parallel sides. So between a trapezoid, a rhombus, a square, and a rectangle, there's only one of those shapes that does not also fit into the parallelogram category. Let me give you about 5 seconds to think about that. You're right, it's the trapezoid because that is only one set of parallel sides. So we're going to be talking about quadrilaterals and parallelograms today. We're going to be drawing a lot today. So my friends are going to need a ruler or a straight edge just to draw those straight lines, because remember, you have to have straight lines to make it an actual polygon. You're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need some sort of paper. Okay, it can be computer paper, it can be recycled paper that you're going to get rid of anyway because we just need one side of it. It can be construction paper, colored paper, I don't care what type of paper you have, as long as you have paper to be able to draw on. So I want you to pause me right now and I want you to go get those materials. Okay, we're back. And so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing some quadrilaterals. So I'm going to give you an instruction and then I want you to pause me because I don't want you to see what I'm drawing, because always quadrilaterals that we talk about or parallelograms don't always look the same. They have to have some of the same characteristics, but they don't always have to look the same. They don't have to be the same size, and they don't have to have the same look to them per se. So I'm going to ask you to draw a couple of shapes for me, and then I want you to pause me because I don't want you to see my drawings. And then we're going to come back together and we're going to review the shapes that you and I both have. Normally we'd be doing this as a whole class, so you kind of see 20 different shapes that are becoming about, because there are a variety of different rhombuses that you could draw. There's a variety of different rectangles you could draw, okay, as long as they have the same characteristics or attributes that make them them. So the first thing I want you to draw for me, you're going to draw 4 shapes, okay? Right now, what I want you to draw me are 4 different quadrilaterals. That's it. I just want 4 different quadrilaterals. Remember to use your straight edge to draw the quadrilaterals. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to draw 1 quadrilateral just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. Then you're going to go off on your own. Just pause me and draw the other 4. Or the other 3, sorry. Okay, so you'll have 4 in total. Okay? So let's see if we can get. Okay, so now that I have my webcam looking, so I'm just going to draw my basic one. I'm going to use any straight edge that I have. I'm just going to draw my first quadrilateral, which is a square, and this happens to be. Okay, so my first one happens to be the square. So remember, squares are all equal sides. So I am going to kind of measure mine out a little bit. So I'm going to make 2 inches on either side. move it a little bit. Sorry if you're a little woozy with my moving of it. Okay, so quadrilateral number 1. Okay, so there's my square. So I'm also going to write on it, right inside of it, so I know. And I'm going to write quadrilateral. I'm also going to write the word square. Okay, so now what I want you to do is you're going to pause me right now, and you're going to draw the rest of the shapes. Okay, so 3 more quadrilaterals. Go. Okay, friends, now Mrs. Crocker's back with the shapes. So I'll show you my shapes right here. I've got my square, my rhombus, my rectangle, and my trapezoid. Now, I'm sure all your squares look the same. Your rhombuses probably were similar, but some may have been skinnier, some may have been wider. Okay, so depending on the rhombuses, there's quite a few that could come in here. It doesn't have to specifically look like this one. Then a rectangle, you could have a skinnier rectangle, you could have a wider rectangle, you could have a smaller rectangle. And then the trapezoid. Now my thinking is that this is probably the one that you didn't think of most. My guess is that a lot of my friends thought of the trapezoid that looks like the pattern block trapezoid, one of those. Okay? But because trapezoid's the only characteristic that it really has, other than being flat and four-sided, is that it just has to have one set of parallel sides. Okay, and that mine does. It has one set of parallel sides. This is what we call a right-angled trapezoid because it makes a right angle in the corner. Okay, so what would be really cool is if I could have all kinds of shapes here, but I am going to show you a variety of different shapes now. Okay, so I want you to see all of these shapes that are here. Okay, because these are all different types of shapes. Okay, a square, a parallelogram. Could you have drawn a parallelogram instead of a trapezoid? Yes, that is considered a quadrilateral. The typical trapezoid you're used to, a separate quadrilateral, a square. But you see how it's completely different from this one. It's bigger and it's almost angled, but it still has all equal sides and 4 right angles. Another trapezoid, just a little, it kind of looks like mine, just a little bit different. Smaller rectangle. Look at this fun quadrilateral. Okay, he would he would be a trapezoid because he has only one set of parallel sides. But he's also a quadrilateral because he's 4-sided. Okay, now this is a cool quadrilateral. It's a 4-sided shape and it wouldn't fit into any of the other categories. A parallelogram, a different way to look at it. So this would have been cool to see how many of us could come up with a variety of different ones. Are these all of them? No, there's a whole bunch. All right. So I want you to look at these shapes and I want you to think about, okay, if I were to categorize them, what would be different ways that I could put these in categories? There's a variety of different ways. So for one example, I might put all my trapezoids in one category. And then maybe I decide to put all of my squares in another category. I could have as many categories as I want as long as I make sure that they all have the same attributes in them. So I want you to think about what attributes could you do. Remember, we know that we could have shapes with 2 sets of parallel sides, and we could have shapes with only 1. So maybe I have only 2 categories, and I put all of my 2 sets of parallel sides in one category, 1 set of parallel sides in another category. And if I really wanted to make it hard, which I'm okay with, I love that too, maybe I find all the shapes that have all right angles. And then I find shapes that have no right angles. And that would give me two categories. Or, I want to make it even harder, I could have 4 right angles. I could have a category with only 3, category with 2, maybe none. I can make as many categories as I want as long as they fit suit. Okay? But remember, whatever rules you put, they have to fit in that. So what I'm going to have you do today is we are going to build some shapes together, and then you're going to sort them. You are going to sort them however you want. You could use any of the categories I suggested. You could come up with your own sorting technique that I maybe didn't suggest at all. Maybe the types of sides, congruent, non-congruent, things like that. And then you're going to take a picture with a label of how you have sorted them to show your teacher. Okay, so we're going to draw some shapes right now. So I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, so I want you to have you're going to need about 12 to 16 shapes. So I've got 4 here. Okay, you're going to want to use your straight edge. Okay, you could draw a parallelogram. And remember, you can have some similar ones. They just need to be a little bit different somehow. Okay, so here's my parallelogram. I got a skinny rectangle. Maybe I have that fun looking quadrilateral. I have to connect that. Just that a minute. There. Okay. So you're going to want to draw any 16 shapes. You can copy any of these that you want. Okay. But once you're done, you're then going to need to cut them out. So once you cut them out, you are going to put them in categories. So I'm going to show you what that's like. Just 1 second. Okay, friends, so you see all the shapes that I have in front of you now. So I just made whatever random shapes. I kind of looked at the paper that I showed you, and then I decided what ones to build. So now I've got to come up with a rule to categorize my shapes in. So as I was thinking about it, I went, can't do too easy a one because, you know, I'm the teacher. I got to do something. So I decided that I was going to put them in 3 categories. First category is one that has 4 right angles. So that's the L, the 90 degree. And then my second category is going to be ones with only 1 right angle. And then my third category is going to be 0 right angles. So I'm going to sort my shapes right now, and I'm going to be basing them off their either all right angles, so it has all 4 right angles, it has only 1 right angle, or has no right angles in it at all. The only thing that is required that all these shapes have is 4 sides, because we are working with quadrilaterals. So a rectangle, I know, has all 4. Okay, so he's in his first category. So I'm going to move these over here. Now, we look at this guy. He's a funky looking guy. I know he's got 0. So he's going to go over there. Now I need my middle category. And I'm looking for just 1 right angle. And remember the first quadrilateral that I introduced? The right angled trapezoid? How many does he have? He's got 1, 2. So he has 2 right angles. So he would fit into the 2 right angles category, which is what I'm going to make this one. I'm sorry, I think I said 1. I want 2. Okay, so I want 4, 2, 0. Okay, so 4, he's another mini rectangle. 4, 4. This guy's got none. 0. This one has 0. Parallelogram has 0. Another one. He has 2. Move my guys up here. And this trapezoid down here. Over. So you can see. He's heading at the bottom. He also has 0 right angles. So that's what you're going to do. But when you go and take your picture for your teacher, you need to make sure you put the categories underneath it. So right now, I would label my bottom, and I would say, I'm going to use my scrap paper that I got left over. This is 4 right angles, and then so on and so forth. Okay, friends, so your job today, so watch this video, draw your 12 to 16 shapes, and then you need to categorize them and take a picture to show your teacher your shapes and how you decided to